Okay, we are live. Well, hello, and welcome all of you who are going to be out there in Facebook and you're going to be on YouTube and my LinkedIn and podcast. We're so excited. You guys know I'm Marcia Hudson, and I love to bring you guys my awesome entrepreneur time. And I am so excited today to have Tomesha Campbell, and she's going to tell us about her. But the thing about it is, I love working with entrepreneurs and I love hearing their stories because so many women, and I talk to so many entrepreneurs all of the time, they either want to start a business or they have a business that is not moving fast, or maybe they want to pivot and do different things. But sometimes we can be in the right place at the right time, but we don't have the mindset that we need to move forward and fulfill our purpose and go after our dreams. Because the good thing about it is so many people are going after their dreams and making it happen. So I'm so excited to be bringing another awesome entrepreneur here today. And we're going to let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself. So Tomesha, welcome to the Marketing Online with Ease podcast show. So we're happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, thank you so much, Marcia, for having me. I really appreciate being able to be on your podcast. I have gotten to know you, gotten to love you over Clubhouse. And I will say, Marcia already introduced me. I'm Tomesha Campbell, and I am the founder of A Fitness Mindset. And what I do as a speaker, as a writer, and a health coach is that I focus primarily on helping women ditch dieting for good so they can adopt a more intuitive approach to health and wellness.
Oh my goodness. Don't we just really need to ditch dieting for good? Because I'm so glad you're here today. And I hope you give some people some tips on that because I just, diets are just not good. You go on them, you get off them, you can't keep that up, And it seems to me people get off, they double the weight, and it's just crazy stuff. And, I don't think our bodies were meant to be like that. I thought about just try to eat healthy, like what you're going to be teaching us, being healthy on a regular basis. And to me, it seems like food helps us, doing the basics, being healthy, eating the right foods, maybe walking, exercising, or whatever. But I'm so glad to hear that. So tell us why what got you into this? What got you started into wanting to be in this space?
That's such a great question, Marcia, because my story is probably a little bit different than a lot of people's because I was in the Marine Corps, actually, was really my inspiration to change my health. And not because I wasn't physically fit, I actually wasn't mentally fit in many ways. And you talked about mindset in the beginning. And for me, I actually started getting into very restrictive dieting, started engaging in very excessive exercise because part of being a Marine is maintaining very specific body standards. And those body standards put me at risk for developing some very disordered eating habits. And it wasn't until I went on a very restrictive diet to maintain a certain size that it was that moment for me that said, okay, you can either continue doing this or you can actually make a transformation. And for me, I decided to change the way I thought about food, change the way I thought about my body. And I started sharing that on social media, not because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, just because I wanted to help other people make the same transformation I was making. And it was through that process that people started asking me more questions, and I started learning about personal development, and eventually, decided to get my nutrition certification, not actually to be a coach, but so I could help myself. But in that process, I was like, I should probably utilize this to support other people in a way that can be monetized. So that's kind of the long and short of it, Marcia.
Isn't that how most of us get started? We have something
Mhm.
that we love, and or we sometimes things are birthed out of a problem that we're having, and we want to help somebody with it. And that's mainly two reasons why people, the ones that I've met, go into business. Either they want to help somebody do something because they're really good at it, they know have information about it, or it's a struggle that they've gone through, and they can actually take that struggle, turn it around, and help other people. I love that. So tell us a little bit about what would you say, and you were saying, I know, in the military, you have to have a certain kind of, body weight or whatever. So tell us what kind of changes did you make to change this?
Yeah, it was a big shift for me because around that time where I realized I was actually developing some disordered eating disordered tendencies, I was actually getting out of the service. And it was almost kind of like the best opportunity for me to say, well, now that I don't have to follow these excessively restrictive standards because I don't have to maintain a certain type of weight, how can I start thinking about my body, the way the food, the exercise I engage in now? And that was an opportunity where I started allowing my body to actually gain weight, which for I explain this to clients and they kind of freak out, but I'm like, the reason why is because I had to shift my mindset from health looking a certain way. Like for so many years, I was like, health is a thin body, health is spending hours in the gym, health is counting every single calorie. But me actually making that shift and saying, well, what if health doesn't look like this? What if you gaining weight doesn't mean you don't that you're not going to run slower? What if you gaining weight means that you're not going to not be able to lift heavier weight? And I was able to see I can still lift heavier weight. I can still run. I can still do the things that I want to do. And I don't have to be on such a restrictive diet. I don't have to spend hours in the gym. I actually got stronger by not spending so much time in the gym. So it was like making those mindset shifts, like allowing myself to think differently and then actually take it in action, which is important in entrepreneurship. It's like nice to think about things, but you have to act. But actually taking a physical action helped me start saying, okay, now that I can prove myself wrong about all these beliefs I used to have, how can I start thinking about things differently?
Wow, I love that because I mean, I think we have the wrong mindsets when it comes to health and wellness, and what you're doing. I'm guessing you will be able to coach people and help them with changing that mindset because we think, oh, you got to be a size 2, oh, you got to
Mhm.
be a size 6. Well, you can be different and still be healthy. And you're right, you don't have to spend all day in the gym. I've read about sometimes people spend 40, 45 minutes, but they get a good workout 3 days a week, but they get a good workout. It's not like, oh, I got to be in there 2 hours every day. And then when it comes to eating, it's not like you can't eat certain foods sometimes. Like all I can eat every day is a salad or something. I think it is about changing mindset because a lot of times we as women we want to be thin, we want to be a
Mhm.
certain way, but you can be, and I'm sure you could talk to us. You can be healthy. Basically just having to me a consistent lifestyle of
Mhm.
doing the right things that are good for your body. Now, you talked about mental,
Yeah.
being unhealthy mentally. I love that. So,
Yeah.
what can you expand on that as far as being unhealthy mentally?
Yeah, for me, I didn't realize for a very long time I had a very I did not like myself. And I always kind of always have to explain this because I know there's this idea of everyone must love themselves. And I know that's not an easy topic for some people because you may not love yourself and that's a journey and you can get there or maybe you never get there. But I truly did not like who I was as a person and I realized that everything I would do, whether it was like my education or it was my time in the military, my experience with my family, was all around getting other people to like me. But I realized I'm trying to get other people to like me because I don't like me. So I have to stop trying to project my dislike of myself on other people and start saying, well, she doesn't like me, so I'm going to move to this friend. Or it's one of those things. And I said this to my brother the other day. I'm like, there's always a common denominator in a lot of the problems in our lives, and it's us. So until we're ready to accept what is it about this situation you keep putting yourself in that is creating the outcome that you don't want. And for me, becoming a lot mentally strong and really becoming mentally healthy started with a lot of journaling, a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, and understanding all of these problems I keep putting on everybody else is really just me projecting it on them. But what if I actually took the time to get to the root cause of why I don't feel comfortable in my own skin, why I struggle to sometimes feel like I don't fit in. When I started uncovering that, it started opening all these new doors. And not because I was like, I don't care what people think. You know what I mean? I'm a human. But I realized I don't have to allow these perception or these thoughts and beliefs to dictate all of my actions.
Wow, that's wonderful because, and I think for me, oh God, it took a long time. I'm the baby of a lot of sisters, right? And I was always trying to please them, and I was always trying to live up to them, and I found myself just being a people pleaser, trying to please people, and then I kind of grew up and did that, and it just went on. And it's so exhausting, and and the thing about it too, you just really even never, most of the time, even get their validation. you're trying to do all of this stuff until you get to this place where, and it's like you say, it's not like, oh, I don't want to care what people think. But it's like you get to this place and you say, I'm going to live my life for me, and I'm going to live out the purpose that I want to, and like you say, I'm going to enjoy me. And when we get to a
Mhm.
place where it's like, oh, I can't do this because I'm 10 pounds overweight.
Yes.
Oh, I can't do this because my hair is not. When we get to a point where we are just loving ourselves or liking ourselves, it gets to be, life gets this like opens up. And
Hmm.
it just gets to be less exhausting. And it took me a long, you're still young. So it took me a long time to get to a place where I said, you know what? I'm going to live this life. I'm not just going to do anything because I'm going to live this my life, and I'm going to live it the way that it aligns with where I want to be, what my purpose is, what my passion is, and the person that God has called me to be. And it got to be so much better. So let me ask you, the things that you're talking about today, I love it about, not having to do this and doing this and loving yourself. Is that something you teach as an entrepreneur?
I do. And it actually happened unintentionally as I started working with clients. I started noticing that there would be aspects of their mindset. And this is always hard because I always had coaches who were like, you can't, no one's going to pay you to like change their mindset. And I was like, I get that, but that's still part of it. Like there's a lot of shifts we have to make. But I would always notice that people would try to either lose weight, or they would try to be super restrictive, or they would try to be in all these exercise routines, all these different clubs. And I got to do all these different programs. And I would get to them, and I would have these conversations with them and realize like what is really the root cause of why you're trying to do all these things. And it often come down to like not feeling comfortable loving their own skin. I had one client, when I really kept pushing and asking her deeper questions, she was like, I don't want to be a disappointment. And in that moment when she said those words, I almost cried with her, because I was like, if this is the thing that's holding you back, I was like, I'm sorry to tell you, you're always going to be a disappointment to somebody in the world. But we can't sit there and live our lives based on, we don't want to be a disappointment, we don't want to, feel like we're ugly. Like we have all these different thoughts and stuff, and it's not unreal. And I don't want to ever dismiss it, because your thoughts about yourself are your thoughts. But we just can't always allow those thoughts to be the thing that keeps us from doing the things that we want to do.
Right, right. I love talking about health and wellness because I think that, and I deal with a lot of women. So I say women, and of course we have men that support us, but I deal with a lot of women and even myself. And we have so many things that I think hold us back. Whether it's our weight or whether it's our hair, or whether it's
Mhm.
our skin, it's just too many things. Or, whether it's our arms, it's just too many things we have holding us back. And I don't know, you're right. I don't know how you try to change someone's mindset, but I would imagine, let's say somebody was listening, and I know somebody will be listening at some point. They're like, that's me, and
Mhm.
they thought, I wonder if I could, how could I make these changes so that I could live my life better? And if they thought, okay, maybe I could call Tomesha and see how could she work with me to help me make these changes for the better, mentally and physically, because I tell you, it is exhausting trying to please everybody. And if they thought, well, I wonder how could she help me? Because sometimes people think that, I think like that too when I'm thinking about a coach. I'm
Mhm.
like, I wonder how can they help me? How can this coach help me about me? So how could you help somebody if somebody was listening, or they're like, I really want to reach out to her, or maybe have a call with you? I mean, how would you go about the journey of helping
Mhm.
them to get from where they are now to perhaps where they want to be?
That's such a good question. I mean, for me, I've always done it so that people can work out with me one on one, is where I always start. But then I realize that's such a big investment for some people that I often now, I really start off by, I'm very connected on social media. I mean, I have my blog, which I post, every single week. So I always provide different content, very small, like nuggets that people can grasp on to kind of, if they need to figure out a concept, learning how to eat more intuitively without necessarily following a restrictive diet, being able to exercise without feeling like an obsession or addiction. But I also, you can just connect to me in the DMs. I love having conversations. I have a lot of people who are either clients or not even clients that I communicate with my community often through the, direct message. And I know we talk about email lists as well, Marcia. So I'm very much reachable. So I will say, yes, you can work with me one-on-one, but don't feel like that's the only way that you can work with me. And I'm actually writing a book to actually support more people who may not be at that level where they can work one-on-one with me, but they can still learn the concepts that have helped my clients and myself be able to become more intuitive with our approach to lifestyle.
So you talked about your blog. I'm going to put, what's the URL for your blog? Put in the
afitnessmindset.com. Thank you, Marsha. I'm like, I forgot to even say it. They're like,
I know, right? afitnessmindset.com. Oh my God. So that's where they can go and see your blog. I'm excited.
Yes,
You're writing a book. So tell us a little bit. So when is this coming out?
So this will be coming out in October, and I actually have chapter 1 right now for free that's available to people. It might be kind of crazy for some people the idea of like handing out my book for free as I'm writing it. But the reason why is I want to write a book that really supports women where they are today. So I have to kind of think about where was I when I really decided I want to start ditching dieting. I want to eat more intuitively. I want to move more intuitively. I want to feel confident in my own skin. So I'm sharing my insights inside that book and different little lessons and stories. But I'm also inviting people to give me feedback along the way so that we can tweak this book together.
Well, that's not crazy because a lot of people do that, and that's going to be great. And I've seen people who actually use, and I've worked with people, they actually use a chapter of their book, and you see it on Amazon all the time. You get a lot of it free before you even have to buy it. But I've had clients who will use a chapter of their book as a lead magnet. So people can get the chapter for free, give them your email, big an email, and you get their email. And then of course you can get the feedback through emails, like thank you for downloading the chapter, you have any feedback. So that's a very good marketing tactic because number one, people get a feel for it. Number two, it's like a movie. When movies are coming out, they let us know months ahead of time, right?
Previews, you're right.
Yeah, it's like a preview. You're like, oh my God, I cannot wait. I mean, it's like a preview a year ahead, and they preview. It's like your chapter. And so when it comes out, everybody flocks to the theater because you've given us this preview for months, and wow, we cannot wait. So what you're doing is a great idea of that chapter free. A chapter is like a trailer. It's like keeping you in what's coming on people's mind. It's a very good tactic. And what happens is if you keep it in the forefront of their minds on your blog or talking about it on Clubhouse or wherever, parts of it, by the time it comes in October, people are so excited. You're gonna have a whole lot of people to buy it. So that is a great way to market your book. Do you have a title yet or no?
I was working for months on a title, and I decided I should just use the name of my website and my brand. It's A Fitness Mindset, Ditch Dieting for Good, and Adopt an Intuitive Approach to Health and Wellness.
Oh my God, Tomesha, you are not going to be talking to me anymore. You're going to be rich and forget all about me because that's going to be great. Keep using that chapter. Keep using parts of it. Just all the way. October be here fast, all the way through. So when it comes, people can't wait to get it. That is, oh my God, that is wonderful. You are going to do very well with that because that, and I'm definitely getting a book. That is a topic that so many people are going to want because people really do want to ditch dieting. It's just that their mindsets that I need to do this to keep being thin and looking good.
Exactly.
That's their mindset. They really, I mean, really, who wants to eat carrots and celery every day? Okay.
Struggle chicken and broccoli.
I know, chicken and broccoli every day. Wow, I'm so excited. So as we wrap up, can you tell us a little bit about, well, you've already told us about your future goal, about your writing a book and how we can find that. And can you tell us can you give us a little piece of advice to any entrepreneur who wants to maybe start a business or maybe a side hustler, or any piece of advice that you can give us as far as an entrepreneur moving forward?
Oh, I have one piece of advice, and it actually is inspired by Marsha, and that's to go out and put yourself out there all the time, everywhere you can. Like, I discovered Marsha and I'm able to be on her podcast because we met on Clubhouse. She put herself out there. I loved everything about Marsha. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there too. I'm going to go into her rooms. I'm going to learn from her and never ask. Sometimes people have this idea that I need to ask all these things. There's nothing wrong with asking, but you know what? You can give a lot and people are going to eventually ask or even offer to give you things in return. So, not saying you shouldn't ask, you definitely should, but you don't always have to start with an ask.
I live by that, Tomesha. Showing up. Oh my gosh, being seen and being heard. I started in 2015 with teaching social media, and from ground zero with nobody. And I tell you, June is like double booked for me with people calling. Can you come teach this training? Can you come? And some of it'll be on my Facebook. Can you teach this? Can you teach that? And people are paying me to teach it. Today, somebody called and said, can you do a social media training? They're going to be here in Houston. What is it? June the 10th. I think it's a Friday. And the reason why all of these people are calling me is because I show up and I'm being seen, I'm being heard. People find me on, I have a membership, which I'm going to be talking about membership in Clubhouse. Lady found me from LinkedIn, got into membership. Why? Showing up. Being heard and being seen, it really works, and being consistent with it. I'm not saying, like you said, you don't have to be in the gym all day, every day. I'm not saying you need to be on social media all day, every day, but you need to be consistent. You know, wherever you are, 2-3 days a week, consistency. And I say it a lot, Oprah said it, so I can't steal it. But Oprah said it, on the other side of consistency is success. And so to any of you who are listening, if you're feeling like, oh, I've been doing this and nothing's happening, on the other side of consistency is success. Or you're like, well, I'm thinking about it. Is this going to work for me? On the other side of consistency is success. And Tomesha is a living example, and I am too. We're both entrepreneurs. We're both trying to make it. We're everyday women, just like you, just, you know, living out our passion and our dreams, helping people to actually get what it is that they need. So we're just so excited, and I know I'm going to be seeing Tomesha. She does a lot on Clubhouse. So as we wrap up, I want you to tell people where they can find you on Clubhouse and anything else, anywhere else they can find you, because and I love hearing, I pick people to be on this show. And believe it or not, a lot of people back channel me and say, can I be on your podcast? And I don't let everybody be. I have to feel like this person is going to be good for my audience. This person, I believe in what this person does. And, you know, of course, we got to connect and like people I like them. And that's how we choose. So you got to show up. You got to build relationships. People got to get to like and know and trust you. And they have to align with where you're going. And I love talking with female entrepreneurs who are aligning with where I'm going and the purpose that God has for me, and living a life that they want to live. So tell us all the places we can find you.
Thank you, Marsha. So you can find me at Tomesha Campbell everywhere and on my website, which Marsha reminded me, afitnessmindset.com.
So is that your handle on Clubhouse?
My handle, yes, is at Tomesha Campbell, which I always think about it. I'm like, I wanted to do a fitness mindset, but I was like, no, I will brand myself.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because I tell people, and then once you put, I'm trying to type it in. Once you put your name and you brand it everywhere, Google picks it up. So I guess you're branding both. I guess Google probably picks up A Fitness and it picks up Tomesha, right?
Exactly.
So you're having your brand, you're branding you, your personal brand, you're branding your business.
Yes.
Great. Well, I am so excited to have Tomesha, and I hope that you guys will reach out to her. And I know that she is on the road to much success. Don't forget to, oh my gosh, to look for her book. She has a free chapter. You can definitely get that and get the little trailer before the book comes out in October. And I know it's going to be a great hit. So I'm sure she'll be talking about a little bits and pieces of it perhaps on Clubhouse. But we can't wait to see where she's going to be going with this. So thank you so much, Tomesha, for joining us today. And we wish you much success.
Thank you so much, Marsha, for having me.